I realized a while back, this channel isn't really about football per se. And when I meet people in real life who ask what I do here on YouTube, I've sometimes struggled to really explain it. Then I figured it out. At its core, this channel was about people who deserve to have their stories told. However, we tell the stories through the lens of football. What we do is we take lessons from the stories of some of our favorite athletes. We learn from their lives, sometimes through their triumphs, sometimes through their struggle. We figure out and sometimes theorize what happened to them, and then figure out how to practically apply those lessons to our lives. So a couple weeks ago, I'm traveling to go and shoot my Excuse to Chill podcast. A cat by the name of Caylin Moore comments on one of my videos. He later follows up with an email giving me his story and just some different source material on him. I'm clicking the sources and it's taking me to ESPN, NBC News, who in the past have already given their version of this story. So the fact that he hit me up to put my spin on it, I was kind of shocked. It's an amazing story. It's unbelievably inspiring. One of the things I always stress is make the most of your talents. That happens in this story. The other side of it is this cat's academic achievements are unbelievably amazing, but he does not have the image of the typical scholar. You know what I'm saying? So today I'm gonna tell you the story of how Caylin Moore leveraged football to further his academic career. Let's get it. Being that the subject of today's video is a beast academically, and the fact that his story reminds me so much of a book I once read, today's video sponsor is called Scribd. Now, Scribd is an online service that provides a huge library of audiobooks, books, magazines. If you've been around this channel since the early days, y'all know I consume audiobooks. I consume them in the car. I consume them when I work out. One of the dopest books I read early on is called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's a fictional book that parallels real life and what it's like on that hero's journey when you're trying to accomplish your actual destiny, the ups, the downs. It's so many lessons and things in this book that I still hold till this day. And it really gave me the boost that I needed to plunge into starting this YouTube channel. And you see where we at today. So I partnered with Scribd so that you can read that book and pretty much any other book you want to for absolutely free. You get a 60-day free trial by clicking the link at the top of the description box. Want to say thank you to Scribd once again for sponsoring the video. Hope y'all enjoy. This won't make sense on paper. A common mantra of California-born Caylin Moore, who's made it to a place in his life now that's beyond fathomable based on where he started and the setbacks that he's endured. Tell me this, where's your grind come from? Maybe you're self-motivated. Maybe it's your favorite athletes, favorite YouTubers. Let me know in the comments section. But for Caylin, it's easy to see that his started with his mom. So when Caylin was young, he was living what appeared to be a pretty comfortable life. He lived with both his parents in their house located in Moreno Valley, California. 4-bedroom, 5-bathroom crib, which today would go for around $400,000. Caylin's family was doing well, bro. They had 7 vehicles, which is excessive, but it's a great symbol of how well the family was doing from an income standpoint. Things look great from afar. If the walls could talk though, they would tell stories of how Caylin's dad verbally abused his mom. He would constantly threaten her life and even threaten the lives of the 3 kids. So this eventually forced Caylin's mom to move back in with her mom, taking her kids, Caylin, his older sister, and their younger brother with her back to Compton. From there, they woke up every day at 4 a.m. to make a 70-mile commute to their school in Moreno Valley. Then from there, Caylin's mom would drive another 50 miles to attend law school. So right from the start, you could see Caylin's mom was a soldier. She opted to downscale her lifestyle for a better quality of life for her and her kids, all while not only just surviving, but living, looking to better her and her kids' life through education. She'll take them to museums, plays, and give them as many enriching experiences as she could. And we can easily point to this as a source of Caylin's drive and hunger to learn, which is the very thing that has him where he is today. Fun fact, this dude actually learned how to reading his mom's law books during those long commutes. Caylin's mom also decided to get him and his brother involved in team sports, so she signed him up for Snoop Dogg's Youth Football League. She even became the league's first female head coach. She was making it happen for her kids, bro, being the leader that they needed. But like all of us do in life at some point, in 2004, Caylin's family took a major blow. Caylin was around 4th or 5th grade, and his mom, who had been their rock and held the family together, found out she had a tumor on one of the chambers of her heart. She goes into the hospital, has surgery. The surgery goes well. Nightmare over. Nope. One of the workers at the hospital sexually assaults this lady in the hospital while she's recovering from surgery. This is one of the most disgusting acts I've ever heard of. It's unimaginable, bro. Can you imagine if that was one of your loved ones in that situation? Being the strong family that they are, they tell the story as one of triumph instead of one of tragedy due to the fact that they were able to come out of the situation stronger. But it definitely took time. So after it happened, Caylin's mom fell into a deep depression, and for a while she barely moved off the couch. Meanwhile, Caylin and his siblings kept things going. Caylin taught his younger brother how to read at a young age, taught him how to tie his shoes, ride a bike, but he was still just a kid himself. And they did receive a settlement from the hospital, but I have to assume that money was really tight during this time. So one day, Caylin walked up to his mom and he's like, yo, you gotta get up. You got 3 kids and we need you. And with that boost from her son, she was able to eventually pull out of her depression and move forward. So the family moves on, right? They learn to cope with the pain of what happened to their queen. But a few years later, Caylin's dad gets into a fight with his new girlfriend, pulls out a rifle and shoots her 3 times. He's now serving life in prison. It was at that point that Caylin's family knew that all the threats he made to them weren't empty. He was actually capable of doing these things. So Caylin's mom survived cancer and sexual assault. His dad is serving life in prison for murder. He got a lot of reasons to be angry and to let that stop him from trying to excel and achieve, you know what I'm saying? So many people would crumble under this weight, and when you hear these stories, yo, it's hard to blame them. This is why this particular story is so dope, because Caylin pushes through it. So following his mom's lead, Caylin put his education first from an early age. He also figured out how to use football as a vehicle to further his academic opportunities. Here's an example. When he was in 7th grade, he won a laptop through Snoop Dogg's football league for making straight A's. This tool was key to his studies, and his family couldn't afford one on their own. Yo, by the way, big shout out to Coach Snoop and his league. They do a lot of good, bro. And just like a lot of kids on the Coach Snoop documentary, Caylin grew up in a rough area. But when the gangs would come up to him, he would calmly explain that he wasn't in a gang, he just went to school and played football. He was trying to go D1. Amazingly, nearly everybody respected his drive and his vision, and would even on occasion give him some encouragement to keep going, lamenting the fact that they once had similar dreams but at some point gave up on. So they mostly showed a lot of love. All except this one particular middle school teacher. During the conversation, this cat told Caylin that he could never get into UCLA due to his background. Unfortunately, you see this in a lot of schools, man. Like, I specifically remember plenty of situations like this coming through the school system. Teachers or adults in general encourage kids to not shoot for the stars for fear that they won't make it and they'll be disappointed, right? But if you're this person, you might think you're doing the kids a favor, bro. You're not. You're just breaking them down and seeing doubt in their heads. You're literally doing the opposite of what an educator should be doing. Stop it, please. Fortunately for Caylin, he was able to push past this with the help of his mom. After completing middle school with great grades, Caylin was accepted into Verbum Day, which is a prestigious prep school in Watts. Caylin says his intellectual abilities really began to flourish there. He learned pride and confidence, which in their truest form just equates to swag. You know what I'm saying? And that's important when you're growing up in a place where it's not seen as cool to actually apply yourself academically. Many of us, probably everybody watching this video, can relate to that. Of course, playing sports doesn't hurt. During Caylin's junior and senior season in high school, he played on both sides of the ball. He played quarterback and a little bit of DB. He put up a modest 3,200 yards through his 2 seasons as a starter, scoring 36 total touchdowns. Not bad, but not necessarily what you would call D1 material. Based on the stats and based on the fact that Caylin only weighed about 159 pounds as a high school senior. But just like he did back in Snoop's youth football league, his goal was simply to leverage what he did on the field to further his education. Basically, just open up one more door, and when I get through it, I'll figure out how to open up the next one. So he got accepted into Marist College, which is an FCS school or D1AA. But the school did not offer traditional scholarships for football. But Caylin was able to secure enough grants and financial aid to attend. So he redshirted his first year at Marist. And for the first time, really, he had proper nutrition. So during his redshirt year, he went from 159 pounds to 195 pounds. Dude was getting it in. And now he was a whole different athlete, but he never lost sight of his academics. Before he would ever set foot on the field, he qualified for the Fulbright Scholarship Program, which flew him to England, where he was able to expand his education and his experiences.
The Fulbright Commission is one of the most prestigious academic accolades that you can earn in the world. People that have won this same award have went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize, so that's just to let you know the brevity of the whole situation.
He was on a good road, and during his final year at Marist, he was involved in a quarterback competition, and the coach ultimately opted to run a 2 QB system. Unfortunately, a couple weeks before the season began, Caylin injured his back so severely that he struggled to walk for a couple months and would later have to have surgery to correct the issue. He had come such a long way to this point and had fought hard to knock down doors, but he was constantly running into issues. He barely had any playing time, so he scraped together a tape and sent it to schools. He also uploaded it online, and you may have seen this back in the day. He actually was able to get the attention of Norfolk State and Alabama A&M, who both offered scholarships to play quarterback. But when TCU showed interest, Caylin jumped on the opportunity. Two small issues though. One, he would have to play DB instead of playing quarterback. Okay, cool, no problem. The second issue, they couldn't offer him a football scholarship. Fortunately, Caylin's GPA allowed him to receive an academic scholarship, so he opted to go to TCU, but he still had to make the drive to Texas, but he had no car. Fortunately, he had been working as a janitor and saving up money that he ultimately used to buy a car. Your boy was Ryan Clean.
This is the only man in the world that will get a minivan.
Now it's like a 23-hour drive from California to Fort Worth, Texas. A full day of driving. So it shouldn't be a huge shock that on the way to Texas, the minivan ran hot. No problem. Caylin pulls over, takes care of the situation. Everything's cool, gets back in, drive a little more. A little while later, he hears something break or explode in the engine, and the van catches on fire, bro. Your transportation literally goes up in flames. Unbelievable, bro. He leaves the van and ends up hitchhiking the rest of the way to school. So when he finally got to TCU, he was more than ready to play the safety position from a size and strength standpoint. Due to the size that he had put on, the coaches talked about maybe even moving him to linebacker. But he struggled making the transition, seeing as how the time he spent on defense in high school was really only due to athletic ability. He had no idea how to actually play the positions, so it took some time. In the meantime, he put up a 4.0 GPA and also played some scout team running back. Basically just trying to get reps wherever he could. During spring ball, he worked his way all the way up to number 2 on the depth chart, but struggled to break into the starting role. He ended up having a good spring, and as fall approached, he was looking to get a little bit of PT as safety and also on special teams. Then tragedy strikes. Caylin was involved in a car accident only a week prior to fall camp. He was riding with a friend to get some food when their car was rear-ended. Caylin sustained a concussion and missed the next couple weeks of training. Now, if you ever attended fall camp as an unproven backup at a competitive position, you know any time missed can be detrimental to your chances to prove yourself and have an opportunity to get on the field. And like many other people in that situation, Caylin slipped down the depth chart. Caylin's a smart guy, and at that point, he saw the pattern. He decided it was time to pivot. He still gave his all to football, but changed his mindset. And while his season didn't go at all like he had hoped, from an athletic standpoint, academically, he achieved something amazing. He won the Rhodes Scholarship. The Rhodes Scholarship is an international postgraduate award for students to study at the University of Oxford. It is widely considered to be one of the world's, not the states, not the countries, one of the world's most prestigious scholarships. You know how crazy that is, bro? First off, you have to be in the elite class to even go for this. In 2016, 2,500 elite students in the United States tried for this, but only 32 people were selected. Caylin was one of them. Turns out at TCU, this cat was one of the most popular people on the team despite only playing a very small role on the field. He started a group called TCU Spark, which stands for Strong Players Reaching Kids. The group meets with kids in the area, goes to schools, talks to the youth, and even started their own youth football league. Today, this cat is married to an Olympic athlete, signed his first book contract, is studying at Oxford, and it's just the beginning because he's only 23 years old. Alright man, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. FYI, Caylin's older sister and younger brother have also both achieved levels of success. I found this story hella inspirational. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, hit me up in the comment section, like the video, share the video, don't forget to subscribe. I'ma holler at you next time. My name is FlemLo Raps.